Don't forget to check out our sponsor, The Health Blaze, at thehealthblaze.com. 100% all natural products from lotions, soaps, foot soaks, bath bombs, and much, much more. Use the promo code Goodfella1Boxing. Tell them your boy CJ Goodfella sent you. Get 18% off. We out.
All right, man. We back. Goodfella Sports TV. Let's just talk Canelo. Talk about his fight with Callum Smith, because I'm not going to do a live, and I can't go live right now. We're inching closer to going live again, but we're going to talk about the Callum Smith. First, going to talk about WBC plans for Canelo Alvarez and, basically what he got cooking in the future. But I'm going to spend some time talking about the Smith fight. And Canelo basically said that he targeted his bicep because he knew he had a good lead hook. And that's why Callum Smith had a bicep injury. And in fact, that was one of my keys to victory. And the final thoughts for Callum Smith to hit Canelo on the shoulder and the elbows and the solar plex on the body to really debilitate his movement. But Callum Smith, people praising Canelo, and it happens. People praising Crawford after the Kell Brook win. People praising Earl after the Danny Garcia win. And people being prisoner, or fans, or so-called fans being prisoner of the moment. But to be honest, I wasn't like really impressed, with the fight. And I was expecting him to stop Callum Smith, but with Callum Smith, he was really slow, robotic. He really pushed his shots. He didn't really sit down. I mean, he didn't use the jab the way he's supposed to, and you got to credit Canelo Alvarez for that. But when you got Chris Minix talking about he pound for pound run away, and that's kind of what, like, if you go 20 years, 30 years into the future, kind of like with Chavez, they tell you Chavez was this great fighter, and hey, I'm not disputing it. Mexico got a ton of great fighters, but they want you to forget about his racing his O. They want to forget about him getting beat by Frankie Randall, him robbing Pernell Whitaker. You know what I'm saying? Some people thought the controversial Richard Steele and Midget Taylor fight. People want to act like, you want to forget his downfalls, and all fighters have them. And that's the same thing they want to do with Canelo. Like, he didn't have open scoring and still struggle with Austin Trout. Like, a lot of people didn't think he lost to Lara. A lot of people thought he lost to Miguel Vasquez back in the day. Like, the Cotto fight wasn't close. Like, the Triple G 2 fights wasn't close. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, he jumped up, like, to 75, and he stopped Kovalev. Basically, they drained Kovalev. So he not fighting no dangerous opponent. It's always a setup. Even in the Mayweather fight, somebody scored a draw. Mayweather won every round. And Chris and Demetrius Andrade was like, Canelo, they moved him well. You're implying that he didn't fight. Lara was a good fighter, don't get me wrong, and Austin Trout was a tremendous fighter. Don't get me wrong, but he didn't fight Jamel Charlo when Golden Boy promised Jamel Charlo and they gave him James Kirkland. He didn't fight Jamal Charlo, okay? And Jamel was on Golden Boy. He didn't fight Demetrius Andrade at 154. You know what I'm saying? At 160, who did he fight? He didn't fight Demetrius Andrade. He didn't fight Jamal Charlo. He ducked Sergey Derevyanchenko. All right? Like, come on. Like, they want us to, look at his resume. Like, what's so sexy about his resume? He went the distance with Shane Mosley. He went the distance with an old Miguel Cotto. He got outboxed 12 rounds by Floyd Mayweather. They want us to forget that? A lot of people thought he struggled with Triple G2 fight. I thought he really beat him both fights, but I thought he for sure beat him in the second fight. He didn't stop Danny Jacobs. All of a sudden, he moved up and stopped Sergey Kovalev. Come on, man. We know he wouldn't have fought Kovalev if Kovalev was in his prime or didn't have to take all the weigh-ins. They want us to act like this dude is the great Mexican hope, but he not. And unlike Chavez fought black fighters. Canelo don't want to fight no black fighters, no slick fighter. He didn't want to fight Billy Joe. When Billy Joe looked good after he fought Demetrius Andrade, he said, I don't want to fight him. I already fought that style. Come on, man. Get out of here, man. So he not what they make him to be at all. He not Mexican James Toney. He got a gimmick version of James Toney style. And I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but then again, why do you always need an advantage? Rocky Fielding, a rehydration clause. You know what I'm saying? Miguel Cotto, he blew up and didn't put a rehydration clause. He ain't that great a fighter, man. People trying to say, he's a pound for pound #1 fighter right now. We look at his victories. Austin Trout, questionable. Arizona De Lara, questionable. Some people thought the Miguel Cotto fight was questionable. The two GG fights, questionable. You had a rehydration clause on Rocky Fielding. Come on. He's a tremendous talent, but he's scared. He's scared to fight somebody mano a mano without something to help him. He arguably was on Clinton Buterol the first Triple G fight. In the second fight, we just keeping it 100. And people say, Who did he beat? Okay, Miguel Cotto going to the Hall of Famer, but at best, his best weight class was 47. Austin Trout, I don't think he going to the Hall of Fame, but I like Austin Trout. He fought Triple G. What Hall of Famer did he beat? Danny Jacob. He hasn't beat one Hall of Famer, but Miguel Cotto. And he didn't even get in first ballot, which was criminal. So what Hall of Famer has he beat? Rocky Field and Callum Smith? He picking and choosing his fights and still need an advantage. That's my thing. Chris Minnick wants us to ignore that he needed an advantage. He wants us to ignore that he got outboxed 12 rounds by Mayweather. I don't think Mayweather outboxed Errol Spence 12 rounds. I think Errol Spence get a couple rounds. I think Terrence Crawford get a couple rounds. So how can we say somebody that lost every round to Floyd Mayweather, older Floyd Mayweather, because Canelo, like his fighters, old, that he better than Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, at least pound for pound. A guy that's at 155 because he wanted to avoid Demetrius Andrade and company. They did move Canelo well. They did probably make sure the judges win his way. You know what I'm saying? We just keeping it real. Chris Minnick want to act like with his white privilege, like he know what he talking about. He don't. They moved Canelo well. Canelo struggled every time he sees Slick boxers. That's why he didn't want to fight Jamal. That's why he didn't fight Jamel. And then again, he can't fight nobody straight up without benefits. And people crying, oh, he beat Callum Smith. Who did Callum Smith beat? Did we not expect this ass whooping? I mean, I expected a stoppage. And he didn't get a stoppage. Every time this guy step up, he go life and death. You know, even with Triple G, a guy that wasn't slick, he struggled to beat him. And he got tired punching Callum Smith last night. So, of course, he don't want to get in there with the Charlo twins. Of course, he don't want to get in there with Demetrius Andrade. Of course, he didn't want to get in there with Billy Joe Saunders before he got popped for oxyframe. Of course, he didn't want to get in there. But Chris Minnick, man, he don't know nothing, dude. He don't know nothing about basketball. He don't know nothing about basketball. So why is he even in the sport that he don't know nothing about? Canelo Alvarez probably would be the pound for pound champ because the dudes around him won't fight each other. But then again, y'all denied James Toney the first ballot Hall of Famer because he juiced late in his career. But Shane Mosley came in. So I want to see if they use the same criteria for Canelo Alvarez. Because James Toney was 1,000 times better fighter or boxer than Canelo Alvarez. But they're going to make sure he get in. For sure. Oh, the computer officer, it wasn't from no meat. At all. And they probably didn't do testing for this fight. He ain't no great Mexican fighter, man. They just hype him up. But then again, let's talk about his future, okay? Right now, they got a couple options. 2 options for him. One option, he could fight Uterman in February. And then, I forget what it said. Go back and, I think go back and fight Triple G. I think in September. Yeah, I think it was Uterman in February, Triple G in May is what the zone want. And then, like, Caleb Plant later that year in September. And that's what they want to do. Or if there's no Uterman, I think Triple G in May and Caleb Plant in September is what they plan, and maybe a little bit later. But, you know, right now, they want to make him the franchise champion at 68. So Benavidez or somebody else can get the belt. You know, and I'm saying this, man. With the franchise champion, it's hard to call somebody undisputed when you don't want to take on the best fighters available. That's for your belt. So basically, he wanted to be undisputed. But, of course, they'll upgrade Canelo Alvarez to the franchise champion so he don't have to fight Uterman. Which, at the end of the day, fighting Uterman is a waste of our time. You know what I'm saying? Fighting Uterman is something that we don't want. So I'm not tripping. You come back in May, fight Triple G, come back in September, and do your thing or whatever. But basically what I heard, it's Billy Joe Saunders first. You know, so, you know, then I heard it's Triple G. My bad. It's Billy Joe Saunders. And then in May is the second option if he becomes franchise champion. Then Caleb Plant in September. So no Triple G. But, I mean, my whole thing is the franchise champion is just to save people from fighting the opposition. It's just like the other belt, just for politics. So if you on this side of the street, you know, we're going to make you franchise champion so the other side can have a belt too. There's just too much greed in boxing. The sanctioned belt bodies have the power. They have the power to change all of this. And if and make, networks work together and push for purse bids. They have the power to make all this stop. But it's greed. It's really greed. So everybody gonna act like Canelo, Canelo's the truth, and he goes to franchise champion. Why not order him and Uterman? He do his fights this year, then order the mandatory for David Benavidez or whoever next year. That's all I'm asking. It's just the boxing is just crazy. When you got a mandatory or potential mandatory that's coming up, we gonna make a franchise champion. What kind of shit is that? Same thing with Lomachenko. Lomachenko should have been forced to fight Devin Haney before the pandemic. But then again, they don't want to push these promoters off and these fighters off who paying their bills. So he may become the super, and I'm not even tripping no more over it. Like, I'm at the point with boxing, like, I'm very close to not even talking it no more. Very close. It's just too much politic and bullshit going on. It's just the love of the sport, my used to love of the sport, my old love of sport that's keeping me talking it. Too many politics. Why not say, Uterman and then Canelo beat everybody ass this year and then David Benavidez sometime next year. But this is what people want to do. People want to move up and weight and take more victories and get the most money. Do a Mikey Garcia. Dudes want to do everything. Canelo don't want to fight no black fighters. He don't want to fight no slick fighters. He don't want to do that. And you look at him last night, dude, he hurt Callum Smith a couple times, but he ain't even no big puncher. And if these dudes realize it, man, if they knew how to fight, Canelo load up on every shot, even sometimes his jab. You put this dude in the era, in the 90s in the middleweight division, dude, he'd be a journeyman. Matter of fact, you strip him of being a Mexican and say he from Dominican Republic, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. Dude had 20 losses right now. And that's one thing I don't like about boxing is your ethnic background could determine, how you move and what stipulations you have in boxing. That's what I don't like. Even in basketball, you can be like from Luka Doncic coming from the Euro League, and either you're gonna be able to play and be a star or not. In boxing, it's determined how great how easier a path you have to a title, to stardom, to greatness due to your skin color, your ethnic background, and I don't like that about boxing. I don't like that. But, like one of DMC say, it's like that, and that's the way it is. But yeah, he might become the franchise champion. Congratulations to him on that feat again. The first 2-time franchise champion in boxing history, which the WBC should be banned from boxing competition, for that one. But, of course, he trying to fight Plant. But the thing with Plant, he got a very talented fighter. But the dude that's going to beat him with all the stipulations and all the scorecards and all, the dude that's going to beat him is a guy that got a good chin, good jab, speed, height. A guy that's going to beat him and push him to the limits is going to be Jamal Charlo. If this was a regular fight where he could lose on the scorecards, which Chris Minix act like he don't got privilege on the scorecards, then Demetrius Andrade might be the fans' own favorite. But for this climate or this era where he got the Chavez privilege, Jamal Charlo is the perfect fighter to get him out of there because you got to stop him to beat you. Floyd beat him. Floyd Mayweather beat him 12 rounds straight and got a draw. So we talking about stoppages. Jamal Charlo is the ideal guy to beat him. David Benavidez is just, he weight drained, he ain't got no chin. He always on the canvas. Or I seen him, I don't think he got a chin. And I don't think he got the skill set to beat Canelo. I think if he move up in weight, he'll have a better chin and he got to get better, but he and Canelo probably, he'll push Canelo, but he just got too many problems right now. Caleb Plant, he not aggressive enough. He need to go train at Crunk so they can teach him how to fight on the front foot. Cause he probably technically and visually beat Canelo Alvarez, but you got to be able to come forward. Them Charlo boys is the ones that can beat him. If you ask me, with all the stipulations and all the, drugs and everything and the scorecards, Jamil and Jamal Charlo are my best to beat him. Unless you want to go up and fight Arabetter BF, but then that's a high risk, low reward fight. Even Beaver, that's a good fight, but I'm good. The two dudes that can beat him or around that weight class, excluding Better BF, is the Charlo twins. They the ones that can beat him, But hey, it's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have a business question, inquiry, response, video request. All my social media links, description. Fast way to reach me is Twitter, then Facebook, then Instagram. We also got a Facebook group. Want to check that out. Want to make a financial donation? Cash App CJ Good 313. That's in the description. PayPal link in the description as well. Best way to donate is share the video. And, other than that, don't forget to check me out at Goodfellas Sports TV 2.0, Motor City Sports Talk, right here on YouTube. Appreciate the love, support. Best donation to make is share the video. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Check out our middleweight boxing playlist. Let me know what you think about the video and Canelo becoming franchise champ. One time for the one time. We gone.